Yeah, she does, Chris. Lizzie rocks. Yeah, I see the freaks got into yours too. So, welcome back to the Book Corner on KBLP with yours truly, Denise Harris. Hope you find this fun and interesting. I do. We're going to talk about Friday the 13th now. And many people will be watching the skies for lightning strikes or falling anvils. So there you go. But where does this superstition come about? And where does it originate from? And why is there such an They won't leave my good. They're in yours, not mine. Maybe they'll leave me alone, Chris. Why is there such apprehension surrounding the number 13? It drives them to avoid using 13 as much as possible in daily life. It's not just a few days of the year. And of course, this Friday is Friday the 13th. So, folklorists claim there is no written evidence for the superstition before the 19th century. But it has been long connected to notorious events in history and religion. So there you go. According to Catholic belief, of course, one of the most significant events in their religion is the crucifixion of Jesus, which took place on Friday the 13th. They're not listening, Chris. Believe me. They're laughing at you. Also, Geoffrey Chaucer also made reference to the apparent unluckiness of the day in his Canterbury Tales, that it was bad luck to start a journey on Friday the 13th. But one of the most popularized myths attempting to explain the origin stems from events on Friday the 13th, October 13th, 1307, when hundreds of the Knights of Templar were arrested and burnt across France. And I mean, they were put on stakes and just burned alive. And of course, it really caught the public's attention after it was used by Dan Brown, among other historical writers, and has been peddled endlessly by conspiracy theorists linking the Knights Templar. So, and that actually did happen. They never do. It was a Friday the 13th, October in 1307, when they arrested and burnt them alive on stakes. Basically, they tied them to the stakes and burnt them alive. So, I think that really started the Friday the 13th thing. The superstition may be linked to an American club that attempted to debunk the superstition surrounding the number 13 and its bad luck date. The 13 Club first met on September 13th, 1881, and determined to actively flout any and all established superstitions they knew about. With this in mind, the group of 13 would meet on the 13th of each month, sit 13 to a table, break mirrors, spill salt, walk under ladders, all while carefully recording how many members died. Over the years, the group grew to roughly 400 members, including a number of U.S. presidents. There we go. But the group's notoriety just added to the date's significance. Then in 1907, an eccentric stockbroker, Thomas Lawson, published a book called Friday the 13th. It detailed an evil business's attempts to crash the stock market on the unluckiest day of the year. And, of course, the book was a sellout and made into a feature-length film. Finally, the myth acquired the first seal of Hollywood when Paramount Pictures released Friday the 13th. Fridays would never be the same again. Yeah, I'm not going to the lake this week. I don't know about you guys, but... And Jason proceeded to slash his way across summer camp. Of course. Although there have been various studies released over the years to prove or disprove Friday the 13th myth. In 1993, a British medical journal study claimed there was a significant increase in incidences on Friday the 13th. Okay, tell them to leave me alone. I don't know. Anybody going to Crystal Lake this weekend? Nope, think I'll pass. Thanks. I think a lot of incidents happen on Friday the 13th because people actually bring them about without realizing it, I think. So I really think that's part of it. And again, I really think it has to do with the Knights Templar. Um, and in fact, now here's a little known fact. The fear of this date is so widespread, it's actually cheaper to travel on Friday the 13th because a lot of people won't. So there you go. We're going to take a look on how Friday the 13th has become a particularly dreaded day. But the two elements are Friday and the number 13. The most vilified number, 13, has countless malevolent origins. It has been associated with death, Satan's, and witchcraft. You may have heard the old wives' tale that at a dinner table of 13, one person shall die. And look at hotels. A volume change again? I don't think so. I turned it down a little on the one song. Is that better? Oh, yeah, they just love me. I'm so lucky. Lucky me. I did turn it down for the one song so I didn't blow your ears off. So, but hotels don't have a 13th floor. Elevators don't go, there's no 13th floor, so it skips. It goes from 12 to 14. So is it just superstition or is there something to this? So, Friday hasn't exactly enjoyed a clean reputation either. Friday has been considered an unlucky day since the 14th century, thanks to a reference to it in the Canterbury Tales. And on a Friday fell all this mischance. But it wasn't until the 17th century that often linked Friday to meager harvest, bad business, and disastrous travel. But what makes Friday and 13 such a lethal combo? It's changing. Why is it changing? Is it good? I adjusted it some. Is it good? Are we all good now? I hope. Okay, what makes Friday and the number 13 a lethal combination? Fortunately, there are some possible leads. The Bible, of course, the Knights Templar, and of course, Link, Dan Brown, and the Da Vinci Code. It could be me too, because I look away or, look at something. So I hope it's go good. So the Knights Templar is a big thing, and this actually did happen. So, the famous Order of Knights was arrested, tortured, and burned to death on October 13th, Friday, 1307. There are plenty of bad things that have also happened. Wall Street. For the widespread fear on Friday the 13th, published in 1907. Friday the 13th tells the story of a stockbroker who chooses that day to incite panic. Of course, I'm going to leave you to believe what you believe. Choose what you want to. But don't be surprised if you catch yourself looking over your shoulder. Boo. Many will laugh off the superstitious day. Others will remain in bed. Oh, you better quit. Yeah, I know. I agree. The skip doesn't fool 13. No, it knows. It does. It does. Oh, yeah. Okay, Chris. A lot of people will stay home or stay in bed all day or don't travel. They don't do anything on Friday the 13th. In the U.S. alone, it's estimated 17 to 21 million people suffer from the fear of Friday the 13th. Go figure. Boy, it is a phobia too, and there's a huge word. It's kind of Friday the 13th is unclear about the fears. There's really no written evidence before the 19th century, but the number 13 dates back at least to 1700 BC. Oh, you're hilarious, Valerie. Ha ha ha. In the ancient Babylon code, the number 13 is omitted in the list of laws. So this has been going on for centuries, this 13 number. There has been a long-standing myth that if 13 people die, one will die.